Okay, we are starting with titanium. I think I started writing it in grade 11, and the reason why I started writing it, and actually technically the reason why this whole thing has happened, is because I had a teacher who, I guess his daughter had cancer. One day in class, he shared probably a 30-second anecdote about his daughter, and I latched onto it. For whatever reason, I thought we should write a story about a family with one of the kids has cancer and just explore what that was like. And that was something that I decided I really wanted to do. Enter titanium. This is the very beginning, everybody. This is where it all kicked off and began. And this story is an entirely different story. It is completely different. The characters are different. The premise is not different in the sense that it was a kid with cancer. It went into remission, relapsed. She does not, well, we will get to that. So, okay, titanium is, let's just do a little bit of logistics. It's 188 pages. I believe I was 15 when I was writing this, and it is not finished. So we will get up to a point where it just stops. It's never going to be finished because I'm not going back to write the rest of titanium. It's not happening. This is what we have. So, right, and this one also switched perspectives. So this one moved, each chapter was from different characters' perspectives, and so each of them had a different font because that was another thing. So let's get started here. All right. Oh, and we're at 55,000 words. So, all right, so in the prologue, we meet our main character, Jenna Thompson. Jenna is, let's see how Jenna describes herself. She is 16 years old. She has too many pimples to count. I feel you, Jenna. She has purple bags under her eyes because apparently that was important for her to mention in her introduction. Her hair is a wild, untamable mop, which that also is something that I wrote in this prologue, and then when she actually becomes the narrator later on in the story, she's talking about how her hair is all beautiful and straight, so none of that. I'm short for my age. I'm skinny, but I'm muscular. I'm a passionate person. I love just about everything and everyone. That was how I described her. And I'm dying. That is the first. That is the first paragraph, almost word for word. Then we have a little introduction about she was 5 years old. She was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. I did a lot of research for this one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did a significant amount of research. Some things never change, guys. So yeah, lymphoblastic leukemia, doesn't remember the details, but it's not something she could forget. She was sick for a long time. She had leukemia for 4 years straight. And I think I skipped most of these years in the first part. So the first part is her childhood battle. We'll get to that, obviously. This is page 1, this is the prologue. Okay, now she's relapsed, so she's writing this prologue while she's relapsed. Doctors won't tell me if it's worse, but I know it is. My name is Jenna Thompson. My life could end at any second, but I'm happy. Wow. Then it just gets dramatic. I'm going to stay positive right up until the end. This is my story. It's a story of fear, of hope, and of joy. It's a story of sickness, sadness, and love, and most of all, it's a story about living. Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the journey is accurate. Part 1. So there are 3 parts in this story. Part 1 obviously starts at the beginning. Chapter 1 is from Dad's perspective. So Dave. So parents are together in this one. We've got Dave and Ariana, I believe, our mom and dad. And the first chapter, or the first part, is basically them. Dave. We're starting with Dave, who has always had a perfect life. He's just talking about how everything has always been great and how he met his wife eventually at school. They had their dream jobs. They got married. It was wonderful. Wife gets pregnant after they're married for 3 years, and they have their son, Matt. So Matt is the older brother in this one. There was always an older brother. I could never do it without an older brother. So we had Matt, and then when he was 3, they had Jenna. They were perfect children. It actually says that. Jenna and Matt were perfect children. They lived a picturesque life. They were prepared for anything. Well, almost anything is what Dave says. Jenna is 5, and so Dave is sitting with her, and he tickles her on the couch just for fun, and she starts to cry because she is covered in bruises. So this was the big symptom that I thought, oh, leukemia, bruises, which is true, it is a symptom, but that was how I wanted to start it. So Jenna has bruises, and yes, mom has a history of cancer, so her younger brother died. Sorry, I didn't realize this. Mom's younger brother's name is Adam. That's not an Easter egg because that is not intentional. I didn't realize that. He's not in it because he died in the 2nd grade, and mom took care of him a lot, and she blames herself. So Jenna starts having symptoms. Ariana, mom, starts freaking out, spends all night Googling symptoms. Oh, and then she gets a fever. And is supposed to go to dance class. So she's big into the art. So she was in dance class, and she doesn't want to go. she's not feeling well, and she tells dad she didn't want to go, and he's like, no, come on, it's your favorite, you want to go. And she's like, no, I don't want to. And he's like, no, you never miss rehearsal. And then she starts crying, and he realizes she's got a fever, and he kind of justifies it as like he knows she's not feeling well, but if he could convince her to go, then everything's fine, and he can't, so he's freaking out. So he lets her stay home after he, you know, realizes she's got a fever and can't go. So they spend a few weeks, she's getting fevers and then not, and getting fevers and then not, and finally they take her to the doctor. They take her to the doctor. That is the end of the first chapter. They go to the doctor, and it ends with them being called in. So they're all there, all 4 of them. Okay, chapter 2 is the blood test. The entire first part is really about the procedures of it. I don't know, that was the part I was interested in back then. So yes, the blood test is chapter 2. This is now Ariana's perspective. That switches back and forth between Ariana and Dave for the entire first part. So they're at the doctor. Jenna's kind of freaking out. Mom tells her, okay, you need to be brave for a while. This might this might be awful for the next little while, but be strong. She's telling this to her 5-year-old. Doctor comes in. Immediately mom asks him, is it cancer? Doctor says, it could be a lot of things. She's got bruises and a fever, so. And then Matt, who is, you know, crying for attention already. He knocks over a bunch of books because he's feeling neglected. So Dave takes him out, and Jenna gets a blood test, I think. She does pretty well. She cries a little bit. You did it. You were so brave. The doctor tells them not to put her on any antibiotics, as if that's a choice they make. That's fine. So Jenna is done with the doctor. Fever goes back down. We then have a little conversation with Dave and Ariana about how she's so brave, and then Ariana says, in that moment I knew we would take whatever came our way. Why did the world have to take it as a challenge? Same though. Chapter 3, we're back to Dave, and chapter 3 is the bone marrow aspiration. The doctor calls. Jenna's blood test results were not good. Dave, I'm not gonna lie, something big is happening in her body. Oh yeah, he sends her in for a bone marrow aspiration now. It's like, go to the hospital. How soon can you be there? 20 minutes? Okay. What do you think we're dealing with, says Dave. Honestly, I think you're dealing with cancer, says the doctor. You can't do that. You can't just freak people out if you don't know. Dad calls mom, but she doesn't answer. So he texts her that he's taking Jenna to the hospital. Yeah, that's a text you want to get. Jenna comes in and asks for dinner, and Dad says, no, we need to take a road trip. There was no point in lying to her, but I decided to do it anyway. Dad tells her they're going to her brother's soccer game, and she says she's hungry, which I'm kind of surprised Dad's not, you know, gonna make her food or something to take in the car, because they're going on about how she's not eating enough, and now she's like, I'm hungry. He's like, no, we need to go. So we go, they get in the car. She freaks out when they don't go to the soccer field, and Dad tells her we're going to the hospital. She freaks out, she cries, she wants her mommy, you know, it's a whole thing. Okay, so they go to the hospital. Oh, they have to wait in the lounge. And okay, the reason that they had to wait in the lounge, I am 99% sure, is because I really wanted there to be a scene where they have, you know, this really late night procedure at the hospital. Okay, so they get to the ER. They think they have an appointment, but they don't. So they end up sitting in the waiting room. Oh yes, okay, so the reason that I had them doing this actually is because I wanted them to not, so they're living in, I want to say Windsor for this. What I really wanted to happen, I don't know why I did all this research, but I remember doing a lot of research on what it was like at Sick Kids in Toronto, and I decided that there needed to be a reason for them to move to Toronto because they wanted to go to Sick Kids. I don't know why. I don't, honestly, I don't remember a lot of my reasoning for that, but I do remember doing extensive research on Sick Kids. But yeah, I wanted the doctors to be kind of mean so that the parents had a reason to say, okay, we don't like it here. If she's getting treatments, let's move somewhere better for that. They meet a little girl named Rachel who has broken her wrist, and so they're just hanging out. Ariana calls, she freaks out. Mom wants to go to the hospital and meet them, but then I believe she decides to take Matt home. And Jenna and the girl that they met, Rachel, and the 2 dads go to the cafeteria to get dinner, and Jenna has a chicken quesadilla. That is in there. Jenna and her dad have chicken quesadillas. And then the other kid's dad has an egg salad sandwich, and the other little girl, Rachel, isn't hungry, so he gets her a salad. Rachel looked like she was in a lot of pain, but she still chatted eagerly with Jenna. They have dinner. Jenna's bored. 1:15 midnight, they finally go for this bone marrow aspiration. These are the things that don't happen. They're not going to just have someone come in for an emergency bone marrow aspiration after midnight. That's okay, we'll schedule it for, 2 days from now. But no, I needed an emergency bone marrow aspiration. I give her anesthetic, so she's unconscious for this, which is probably makes sense because with an aspiration, that's the needle that goes into your hip or your back. I think that's the kind of thing that you're, especially for a little kid, they'd sedate you for that. There's a line in here that I'm talking about how Jenna's asleep after the procedure and he's waiting for her to wake up. And what I think I meant to say was that the nurse left me alone with her, promised to come back in 40 minutes when it wore off. And what I meant was that when the anesthesia wore off, but I wrote amnesia. Nurse will come back in 20 minutes when the amnesia wears off. That's funny. Jenna wakes up in a little bit. They take her home and put her to bed. Oh dear, in chapter 4 is when we throw a wrench in the plans. Ariana's perspective again, this is the morning after she goes into Jenna's room, tells her that she doesn't have to go to school because she was up so late at the hospital, goes to make her some hot chocolate. Her brother is pissed off about it because again, her brother is feeling neglected, so he wants some hot chocolate too. Mom does that, takes Matt to school, and then goes home and all three of them sleep. Okay, they wake up around noon. They're just chilling. This is when Mom realizes that her period is 2 weeks late. That wasn't good, says Ariana. She goes to the drugstore, she gets a test, and we find out, shit, she says. This is another line that I think is hilarious because she's yelling at Dad. So she grabs him. He's watching TV with Jenna. She pulls him out of the room. He goes, what the hell is going on? She goes, this is terrible. He says, what is? She goes, you idiot, you don't know? How would he know? How would he know? She didn't know. I'm pregnant. Jenna's got cancer. Matt is a little nightmare because he's feeling neglected, and Ariana is pregnant, so they're freaking out. Oh yes, okay, now they have a conversation about how the hospital here is terrible and the receptionist is rude, so we're gonna move right now while you're pregnant and our daughter is just about to be diagnosed with cancer. Are you out of your mind? At least I didn't just say, okay, we're doing it. At least there was a little bit of pushback. So they fight about that for a little while. They fight about the baby and they fight about this and they fight about that. Then they get a phone call. Oh, they still need to run more tests. Wow. What are we dealing with in general? Mom asks. I'd rather not say that on the phone. The other doctor should have taken his cues from that. Okay, so they ask her to go in for a CT scan. What time on Monday? Jenna has dance class at 4. Jenna's not going to dance class, Ariana. Dad asks why. Mom says, well, they want to see if it's spread or they want to delay giving us the results. Dad says they diagnosed her first, though, wouldn't they? Mom just says, obviously not. Fair enough. And Mom now says maybe a third child would be good. It would give Matt someone to be with while Jenna went through treatments, and maybe it would be a match if Jenna ever needed a transplant. Yeah, that's a healthy way to look at it. Okay, chapter 5, back to Dad's perspective. CT scan. I sat back on the lawn chair and closed my eyes. Just because our family was scrambling around 99% of the time didn't mean that I wasn't going to enjoy my spring! Exclamation mark. What's going on with Jenna? Asks Matt. We don't know, kiddo, but I'll tell you when we know. But you told her. Matt protests. Well, yeah, of course you did. Except they didn't. I don't think she knows at all. I need you to take Jenna tomorrow to the hospital. I can't. I have a class to teach. I've missed enough days as it is. Well, I have houses to design. Ariana says, I thought she was a journalist for some reason, but oh, they fight because nobody can take Jenna, and then Dave does it anyway. Oh, they go have a CT scan, and Jenna wants Dad to stay with her, but he can't. And so what he does, he pulls a tiny piece of paper out of his pocket and a pencil, because those are things that apparently he just carries around with him. He's a teacher, okay? So he takes that out and he writes the word dad on the paper and gives it to Jenna and says, that's me. Take it in the room with you. Can she have a piece of paper in the room? And they say not inside the machine, because that apparently would affect the whole thing. If she has a piece of paper in the machine, she can have it in the room. So they put a little piece of paper on the table that says dad on it. And Jenna's like, yeah, okay, that works. God. Okay, so Jenna gets her CT scan. That's fine. Why does they give her an IV for the CT scan? But that's not going, like, how can she can't be connected to an IV when she's in the machine. How would that work? So Jenna has her CT scan. Where does she go? Oh, Dad takes her to school. And then he goes to his own school. So he's a teacher, obviously. Oh, he's paged to go see the principal. So he goes, the principal says, good afternoon, Dave, twiddling his thumbs. I've heard something rather shocking about your family. I've heard your daughter's in trouble. Where'd you hear that? I just heard it through the grapevine. That potentially came from the fact that I was in jazz band at the time, and we definitely played Heard It Through the Grapevine at one point. I used to play the saxophone. Fun fact. I'd prefer if it stayed secret. I don't want to know how you found out, but don't tell anybody else. Dave, if you need anything, says the principal. I don't, says Dave. What's going on, he asks. She has cancer. We don't know, but she hasn't been diagnosed, but she will be. She's had a lot of tests. Okay, chapter 6, diagnosis. So we get back to Ariana. We go to the appointment. So I start this diagnosis process off with the doctor looking at Jenna and saying, do you know what mitosis is? She's 5 years old. Of course she doesn't know what mitosis is, but again, I was writing this in grade 11, which means I think it was the year before was the year of my science class. Yeah, grade 10 science is when we learned about cell division and mitosis. So I decided full on, explanation of cell division and why she has cancer. I'm so sorry, but you've been diagnosed with a type of blood cancer called acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Is it fatal? Mom immediately asks. What do we do? ALL is the most common form of leukemia in children. It also has the highest survival rates. However, those rates are not 100%, so I suggest we take action immediately. It's coming straight from the internet, isn't it? Research. I'm gonna go ahead and say it would be best if she started with chemotherapy, then moved on to radiation, then she's also going to probably need a bone marrow transplant. We've got the formula down here, don't we? I'm pretty sure it is the same sort of formula where she goes chemo, there's an infection, she gets admitted, and then I don't know if she ever gets radiation in this one, but she does get a transplant. I don't remember who does the transplant. Are they gonna work, Mom asks? She sends the kids down to the lobby by themselves so she can have a breakdown. Okay, so she cries for a while. Dave comforts her. We have to get her into remission as soon as possible, Mom says, as if they have any. Oh, and Dad immediately says, we don't have a choice about that. See, at least I am thinking about it a little bit, and when somebody says something that's not, doesn't make any sense, I do call her. They go home, they have a board game day, because what else are they supposed to do? Next few days blur together, we get a whole bunch of calls. They decide that they do want to move and go to Toronto, so they can go to, oh wow, and I actually even wrote, let's go to Toronto, and here's a brochure for sick kids. I actually even put that in there. It's for children. It looks lovely. Yeah, it looks great. I loved the sound of the hospital. No, you didn't. Oh, Jenna freaks out about it. Took 40 minutes to get her to come around. Wow. See, there are things that remain the same. There was always a move. We'll meet Dr. Nightingale soon. And there's always a transplant. I mean, it makes sense. Mommy, I'm scared. She says, I know, it's scary, isn't it? Says Mom. And then Jenna says, can I feel the baby? Right, because Mom's still pregnant this whole time. They need a house. They don't have a house. They find an apartment. They don't know what to do about jobs. They're freaking out. They're freaking out about all of it. Oh, Mom says she wants to quit her job. All right, you can't. We need to make money. I've made plenty of money with this news station. We've just switched her career, apparently. Dave, I've made plenty of money with this news station. No, you haven't, he says. Face it, Ari, the station you worked at was crap. They didn't pay nearly enough. And then they freak out. I can't sustain us. You're not quitting your job. Then you have to. They have a whole fight about this, apparently. And then Matt comes down and freaks out. Mom tells him that they're moving. And he doesn't want to either, but he takes it better than Jenna. Okay, now we get to the move. They have a bad little while. They quit their jobs. They find an apartment. They get set up at the hospital. He immediately finds a new job. Dad gets a teaching position as an English teacher at a high school for troubled kids immediately. I mean, maybe that's because I have trouble filling those kinds of jobs. So they almost forget about the ultrasound, but they go to an ultrasound and they find out that it's a girl that they're having. They go home, show them the ultrasound picture, they get ready to move, the kids go to bed, and they have a little heart-to-heart, Mom and Dad, where they decide they want to talk about what to name the baby. This is a weird scene. Yeah, so they're trying to talk about it, and they're looking around, they're in the living room, Dad's looking around the room, and he looks around and he sees the book Gone with the Wind. Apparently he just says it's his favorite. And Dad suggests we name her Margaret. And I didn't spell Margaret properly either. Ari has an Aunt Margaret and they didn't like them, so that was a joke. And then, oh God, Mom suggests Oswin, because at the time that I was writing this, I was obsessed with Doctor Who. And it actually says right in there, what about Oswin? She was referring to one of our favorite shows, Doctor Who. And then he suggests Rosie, and it says because of, it's another joke because of Ariana's least favorite grandmother, but I am assuming probably Rose was another Doctor Who reference. Yeah, so they keep talking about it, and then they decide to name her Emma. There you go. Jenna had been diagnosed almost a month ago, but they hadn't started treatments. This was another thing that I remember kind of researching and freaking out about because I wanted to make sure that they moved, but I was thinking, oh my goodness, there's, you know, she's not started treatments yet. I tried really hard to rationalize and make it all work. I don't know if I was successful in that. They freak out that it's getting worse because obviously it's getting everywhere. Oh. Okay, so mom's freaking out about getting it worse and she says, no, we can't wait any longer. We're moving now. I guess there's supposed to be another couple of weeks. Dad says, okay, I'm gonna call the trucks today. I'll arrange the move for next week. And she says, no, call them today, arrange it for tomorrow. He says, we can't possibly move tomorrow. She says, yes, we can. He says, no, we still haven't bought the new house or sold this one. This is like quite a long discussion about exactly when to move. All of these moving logistics that really just didn't need to happen. And then mom says, wait, we haven't looked at the house. Are we being too rash? Even though she's just said, let's move tomorrow. Yes, you're being rash. And dad actually responds, of course we are. We don't have time to be smart about this. And then the next line he says, we're not going to live in an apartment forever. For now, it's the smart thing to do. So make up your mind. So they decide to go on Saturday. It gets hectic. The house sold in that next few days. They rent a room in the apartment. I'm assuming they mean the apartment building. Could you imagine the whole family just has one room in an apartment? Oh, and then they have to figure out school because their children need schools. Luckily, they found one that was more than happy to take them on. This is so unrealistic. Matt and Jenna weren't much help with the moving. They were more than willing to sit on the stoop and watch us do the heavy lifting. They are 5 and 8. Of course, they're not helpful. They go to Toronto. They go to their apartment. It's hideous. That is a full, I was really big into one line, one sentence, really impactful statements. Very important. Hideous house. Okay, they're devastated, but whatever. They don't like it. They have to deal with it. What have we done? Yeah, what have you done? Honestly, this book is weird. Then they meet the doctor. Here we go. This is Dr. Nightingale. We decided not to drive since the Toronto traffic looked dismal. Can confirm it is. Oh, we took the subway. That's not any better. So they get to the hospital. They like it there because it's a nice hospital apparently. Jenna's scared. What if she's not nice? I'm sure she will be. Dad says, directly avoiding answering. That was an answer. What else are you supposed to say? Okay, so we meet Dr. Nightingale and she is lovely. So they say chemotherapy, we can start tomorrow. And Jenna needs to have an access port installed. Does it need to be tomorrow? Mom asks, even though she's just moved up she's just speed moved because they need to start. And now she's saying, wait, not tomorrow. I honestly believe the sooner we start this, the easier it'll be to beat, but it's up to you. Why should Jenna get the port installed? Okay, it would be uncomfortable for her to keep. I researched this. I definitely researched this. Can we do it today? Mom then asked. This is 3 lines later. There's a lot of just changes of heart here. The doctor says, take some time to think about it. You only found out today, but then we'll do it tomorrow. Can we have a minute to talk about it? So they ask Jenna if she wants this port, and she looks at her mom and says, Mommy, can I beat it? And they say, of course you can. And she says, I can do this. I can do it. I'll get the port and all the other stuff. She's 5. They go back in. Jenna says, we'll do it. Okay. And then we get, if she runs a fever at any point during chemo, you get to the hospital right away. I was setting that up because we already knew that was going to happen. You need to get her here immediately, even if it's 3 in the morning. Again, foreshadowing, because it definitely was. They take her on a tour. She meets, Destiny. She meets Destiny. I forgot about her. That's her favorite nurse. What are you doing here? Destiny asks. I have cancer, says Jenna. She goes, don't worry, I'll beat it. Oh jeez. Okay, next chapter. Back to Mom's perspective, and it is the first day of chemo. Jenna's had a nightmare. There was a monster. It kept pushing her over. Oh, that symbolism. And Mom says, did you get back up? And Jenna said, yeah, it didn't help. And then Mom gives her a whole motivational speech. That was me thinking I was being subtle and symbolic, and okay, pretty obvious where that came from. They get to the hospital. Jenna gets her port with no issues. Oh, Mom got her an iPod. That was a big deal. Remember iPods? Jenna gets super excited and falls asleep. Chemo's done. Thank God, says Mom. Okay, Jenna's getting chemo. She's not doing so good. Hair's falling out. They get her chemo doing and they shave her head. Jenna says, does it look good, Mommy? And then she just says, I like it. And Destiny says, think how easy it'll be to wash. I mean, look, Mom, I'm a fighter, Jenna says, and then Mom cries. Oh, and then that is the night. I keep remembering that you're having a baby. Do you remember that? Because I think I'd forgotten about that at this point. This whole situation is ridiculous, Ari, but I love you. They slow dance in the living room. And they check on Jenna, and Jenna has a fever. 104 degrees. 104.2. The 0.2 is important. Uh-oh, that's another bold impact statement line. Just uh-oh. They take Jenna to the hospital. She's running a fever of 104.2. And they take her into the oncology. You did the right thing. Jenna's confused. And then I think they take her into a room and then they won't let her in. Since she's at risk for an infection, pretty sure she's already got one. So they kick her parents and her brother out. Doctor goes in because the oncologist is there at 3 in the morning. What time is this? This was supposed to be a middle of the night type deal. Oh yeah, right here, just after midnight. That was very important to me. Maybe I should take Matt home, says Dad, because it's midnight. And Mom says, Dave, we're not leaving this hospital without Jenna. You don't have to leave. I'm not gonna force Matt to sit here. Don't you dare leave. And then he leaves and she's pissed. And Dr. Nightingale comes back. They've administered some medication. Oh yes, okay. And then Dr. Nightingale tells her that Jenna needs to stay in the hospital because she's vulnerable to infections. At least that part was right. And Ariana signs all the paperwork because Dad has gone, and so she makes this decision and there's this whole big fight. Why didn't you consult me? Says Dad, and she says, you went home. They have a report. Jenna's fine. Fever's going down, still high, but that's okay. She's got 5 minutes before she's gonna fall asleep because we gave her some medication. Do you want to see her? So they take. I nodded so fast I thought my head would pop off. Oh wow, I even threw in the word. Okay, so she's freaking out because Jenna's all attached to wires and some things are monitoring her vitals, others are needles giving her medication, an oxygen tube, and a pulse oximeter. Again, this was very important to me. Definitely did some research on that. Jenna, I'm so proud of you. I wish I could be like you, says Mom. They give them a single cot and they share it, and it's a twin bed. So Mom and Dad sleep there. Where's their son? Hang on a second here. Oh, wait, here. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna take Matt home. I'll look for a babysitter. Finds a babysitter for his son. Oh, Dave explains Ariana's brother to Destiny because that's his decision to make, apparently. Jenna's doing better. Jenna wants to go home. We tell her she can't. Jenna freaks out and they watch Dragon Tales. That was my favorite childhood show. And now we have chapter 10, which is the only one in this part that is from another person's perspective. And it is from the perspective of Sarah. Who's Sarah, you may ask? Dr. Nightingale. She's just going home for the night and she goes and has a conversation with Ariana, who's freaking out. It's just she's trying to comfort her, is explaining, I understand how scared you are, I know how you feel, blah, blah, blah. Ariana says, who did you lose? It's none of your business, bitch. First of all. Second of all, doctor says no one. Ariana says, no, you're right. You do know how I feel. Nobody else does. So you lost someone or you knew someone who was in danger. And, Dr. Nightingale's, well, I specialize in cancer. I lose people. And she said, no, I recognize your voice there. You were a mother. You're talking as a mother. And Dr. Nightingale says, I'm always a doctor. That's who I am. And Ariana says, but you're a mother. You must have some children. Yeah. So Dr. Nightingale says she does. She has 2 children. She has a 14-year-old named Kylie and a 7-year-old named Lindsay. She goes home and sees her daughters. Ah, yes, okay. As they go to bed, they have this hug as they do every night, her and her husband, because they want to pretend that nothing is missing. So that's the big mystery setup. What's missing in their lives? And I don't think I ever actually wrote far enough to get to the reveal. But okay, so I believe this is an 8-month time jump. Jenna is still in the hospital. 8 months. I did the time jump so that it was time for Ariana to have the baby, but I feel like it had already been a couple of months, so another 8 months seems like a lot, but again, whatever. Jenna's still in the hospital. She did radiation as well. She wasn't in remission. It's helping. Mom's super pregnant and she's getting a transplant, apparently. Just straight up, you have your transplant tomorrow. Okay, so Mom goes home to see Matt because she hasn't seen him in a while. Oh, okay, grandparents are here now, I guess, so they're taking care of Matt. Mom wakes up at 3 in the morning and she is in labor, but she can't go to sick kid, so she has to go to a different hospital. Oh yes, and she misses Jenna's transplant. That was the whole big thing. So she gets Matt. Matt's like, what's going on? Mom says, your sister's coming. And he says, but she's at the hospital. Mom's like, your other sister, you idiot. Dave, you have to get your ass to the hospital right now. She says, but I'm at the hospital. General hospital, stupid. I'm having the baby. What? I can't. Jenna's transplant's in a few hours. But he leaves. So she gets there. She's at 8 centimeters. She wants to wait. The doctor says, no, you can't. Baby's coming. So she has the baby. Dave gets there. They have the baby. And they just pretend that they haven't just abandoned the other 2 children. So then they call Jenna. Jenna's just gone through this transplant completely by herself. She's like, where are you? Your sister's here. Jenna says, can I come meet her right now? I have to wait for a bit. You just keep being brave. So then I think they call all of her family. Somebody holds the baby and Emma starts crying. One of the grandparents says, you broke the baby. Dave takes all of the rest of the family over to visit Jenna. Oh, and then Mom has a long speech that she gives to Emma. I promise that whatever happens to this family, I will love you. No matter what Jenna goes through, that's the most important thing right now. No matter what you go through, you are my daughter and you are always one of us. We love you so much already, sweetheart, and will only love you more every day. Things in this family may not be normal and they may not be easy, but we try to be happy. We're there for each other no matter what. And I will always be here for you. I promise, Emma, I promise to love you forever. Wow, so dramatic and heartfelt. Okay, so Dad goes back to see Ariana and Emma. Ariana only cares about Jenna. How was she? She's fine. That's not what I mean. We abandoned her. She's all alone. How's she really doing? He's like, she's fine. Mom's like, I don't believe you. Why don't you stop stressing over Jenna and pay attention to your other daughter for a few minutes? Chaos, man, chaos. He leaves, he's upset. A nurse comes and talks to him. He says, you know, I just had a baby. And she says, is there anything I can help you with? And Dave goes, other than cure my older daughter of cancer? No. Is she happy? Asks the nurse. Not about the cancer, says Matt. If she's happy, she'll be fine, says the nurse, because that's how it works. Yep. Tells Dad to patch up his issues with Ariana, because that's not gonna help anybody. Oh my god. She's scared, says the nurse. I'm not telling you to let her off the hook, but you need to talk it out instead of storming away. You have to communicate. Dad goes, what are you, a marriage counselor? She says, I'm in school to be a psychologist. Yeah, that gives you the right. I'm sorry for prying. And then he says, that was good advice. And she says, well, that's nice to hear, and walks away. Oh my, this is the time jump. I was shocked how fast time passed, especially since we spent so much in the hospital, and now it's 3 years later. Jenna's in the hospital Jenna's still in the hospital, but I think it seems to make it sound like she's in and out quite a bit, but she's in the hospital a lot. So Jenna's pissed because she doesn't want a birthday in the hospital. All of a sudden, they bring her into the doctor's office and she's in remission. Yay. Oh, I think they have a party for her in the hospital, actually. Yeah, they have a party for her. All kinds of snacks. Jenna goes home, she's happy, it's her birthday, and she wants to go to Canada's Wonderland with her best friend, and she will not let Matt come. Matt's okay with that, and Matt is getting very close with Emma. We have now just finished part 1. We have now jumped into the future, and Jenna is about to start high school. So yeah, it starts on her first morning of high school. So Mom and Dad are taking pictures. Jenna's annoyed. Matt is gone. So Matt has just left to go to university. He has gone to University of Guelph to attend the Animal Sciences program. Emma is still around. She is going to grade 3. They have moved into a new house. They're in a Toronto suburb. My dad hated living downtown, but it was helpful when I needed to be rushed to the hospital, so she's still good. Emma and Jenna get on the school bus and off they go to school. So Jenna is sitting with her best friend Julia, talking about how life went back to normal. What has she done since she got better? She went back to school. She got good marks. She joined community theater, plays, and musicals. She started playing guitar. She started taking dance. She fell in love with singing, writing, and visual arts, and she started swimming. Has a buzzing social life. We could almost pretend like the cancer never happened, and then we got another one-line impact statement here. Almost. That is just a full paragraph. It's just the word almost. There were times my mom would give me a sappy, nostalgic look, and if I didn't feel well, my parents investigated me until I felt like I committed a murder instead of complained about a headache. Okay, so she does not want anybody in her high school to know that she has cancer. That also carries through, I guess. Oh, she's in a special enrichment high school. More intense workload, and if the teachers see students with exceptional talents, they'll put them together, create the school's extracurriculars around the students themselves. First of all, damn, should bring this to one of my classes. This is how we fix the education system. Oh, wait, this is the thing about her hair. My long caramel hair had been straightened within an inch of its life, so clearly it's not untamable. You want to talk about untamable? Don't even look at me, Jenna. This is a fast-paced school. Clearly I kept that too. You'll be expected to work hard, complete assignments on time, do your best. I'm sure it will be valuable, and I want to help you have a good freshman year. If you're struggling with the work, just with the work. If you're struggling with the work, let me know and I'll help. Now, who knows anything about polynomials? Why would they know about polynomials on day 1? Teacher assigned 3 different worksheets and 20 textbook questions due tomorrow. So that carries through. I checked my schedule. Geography next on the other side of the building! Exclamation point. So Jenna runs to class and she knocks into Corinne. This is an introduction of one of Jenna's friends. So they meet each other. They are going in different directions, and so that is the entire interaction is Jenna. Wow, also kind of carried over, because that is technically how she meets Maya. She bumps into her and knocks her over. Oh no, they actually fall in this time. I groaned in pain as my butt and shoulder hit the floor. Hit the hard floor. Distinction that needs to be made. Geography was class, and she has creative writing, but she has homework. Then she has drama. This is a pretty good semester. Meets Corinne again. Corinne's in drama. They like each other. Play some icebreaker games, and then they talk about their projects, and she's disappointed when drama ends. And then she goes to visual arts. What is this schedule? Oh yes, and the reason she's in visual arts is because this is where we meet Dan. Dan is Jenna's boy. Oh, and he's seriously cute, and the seriously is in italics. So she's in art class. Very cute guy. Floppy dark hair, piercing green eyes. Face was chiseled. She's drawing, and he likes her picture. I would have said something totally embarrassing had the teacher not saved me by starting class. So shout out to the teacher. Oh, and Dan is staring at her. Ah, okay. And now we switch to the perspective of Kylie. So Kylie is Dr. Nightingale's daughter. So she has a boyfriend named Ezra who was a high school dropout, but cute and a good kisser. And those are Kylie's standards. That is something she says. Oh, and Kylie's mom is calling her, trying to boost her motherly reputation. My mom had gotten so overprotective ever since the incident. What was the incident? This is not ever revealed, I'm pretty sure. I think what in my mind had happened, I'm pretty sure this is what it is, but I don't think we ever fully got to a reveal. So Dr. Nightingale had a daughter who had died from cancer, and Kylie had been alive. It had been her younger sister. So Kylie has basically shut down and hates her family, hates her mom. It's a whole thing. Ezra's mom comes home and Kylie immediately says, I should head home. And Ezra says, stay for dinner. And she says, yeah, okay. 3 hours later, she goes home, and Lindsay is the younger sister who is alive. She's all excited. Mom's annoyed that she didn't come home. She doesn't want to talk. She went to see Ezra. Everybody hates it. Oh, she's doing a victory lap. Okay, shouldn't get into university. Decided she would move to San Francisco, get a job in fast food, but parents refused. She failed every test and she never handed in an assignment and skipped her exams. So, duh, she's not going to university. I was notified that I would not be welcomed at any university. Every single one rejected her. Everybody. And this semester she is taking math, anthro, English, and gym. Oh, and she's not going anywhere till she has dinner and tells us about her day, Dad says. But she already ate. She walks away. And then she posts on her Facebook page, is it even fair to judge people before we know what they've gone through? People start liking it. Mom comes in, she's all worried. This year could be a fresh start, but Kylie gets mad. Nothing's gonna change. We have too many bad memories. Give up on perfect family life. We could do it, says Mom. We just have to try. And Kylie says, you mean I have to try, right? Keep it together, says Mom. Who said I was together in the first place, says Kylie. Mom's talking about, Dad and I are here for you, and Lindsay is. Kylie goes, don't even talk to me about Lindsay. She hates me. Mom says, I know it's not what you had, but at least it's not nothing. Nice. Back to Jenna. SPAC. It's the name of the next chapter. SPAC. It's an acronym. Okay. This is now the beginning of the performing arts group. Jenna's trying to do homework. She gets a phone call from her teacher, her drama teacher. She picks it up. She says, you're go for Jenna. That's a new grading she wants to try out. And she immediately says, no, that's dumb. Thankfully, she doesn't adopt that as her new phone greeting. Drama teacher wants her to come to school on a Saturday. So she goes to school and she meets with a bunch of other kids. They want to start a performing arts club. It is called the Student Performance Arts Competition. And they have to make... God, there's 10 of them, and they are supposed to make this team. They have to write a 20-minute play, perform it at this competition. It needs 2 dances, 2 songs. Songs must be original. You must record backing tracks to sing to, and all the sets have to be done. It basically was just me saying, every form of the arts, let's do that. So obviously they all say yes. We meet the 10 of them. They talk about the competition that they're going to do. So we meet all 10 of them. This was ambitious to have 10. I mean, none of them really have a lot of character development, but they do. Their character development takes place in a series of paragraphs, and that's about it. We've got Corinne, who's the girl that she had met, and then we have Grace, Josie, Quinn, Mark, Mitch, Alex, Marshall, and Pete. She goes home. She's gonna do homework. She wants to read all the information on the competition, but Emma comes in and wants her to read a book, and Jenna feels bad because she ruined Emma's childhood or something. Oh, she felt left out because Matt and Emma bonded so much while Jenna was in the hospital. So Jenna reads her a story. 10 hours the next week rehearsing her show. I guess, okay, so each of them gets a paragraph. Each of these people get a paragraph to explain them. Grace is shy, passion for visual arts, only child. Okay. Really sweet. Didn't think she was good at drama, but she's amazing. Then we have Josie. She's tiny and cute and really good at singing. Not great at visual arts, but she's amazing on the stage. Then there's Quinn, who's tall and lanky and hilarious, and she's a great dancer. Then we introduce Mark and Mitch in one paragraph. I don't know why they didn't each get their own, but they're funny, comedy. They weren't related, but they look alike and they're best friends. Really good writers. Then there's Alex, who's a romantic and a very good singer. Then there's Marshall, who has a high-pitched voice, sweet guy, and gives amazing bear hugs. No comments on if he's actually good at, what he's good at, just bear hugs. Cool. And then Pizza Mystery. Because I'd run out of personas at this point. So, Pizza Mystery. Yes. We're trying to write the song and she starts talking about Glee. Oh my goodness, they're trying to write a song. They can't find any inspiration, so one of them says, let's go out and explore the city like they did in Glee, because that was one of my favorite scenes, and they went out and explored New York because they couldn't write a song for nationals. So they go out into Toronto. They end up going to the CN Tower. Oh, Josie freaks out at the top because she doesn't like heights. So they have this whole thing about how Josie doesn't like heights. They're all super comforting, and they bring her over to the window and they show her. We get the backstory that her uncle died in the plane crash, so she's afraid of heights. I don't even know where this stuff comes from. So they go over to the window, they make her look out the window from the top of the CN Tower, and she loves it. And then they come up with the idea for their song about overcoming challenges, and she wants to go look again because now she is over her fear of heights. Then they go back to rehearsal, and then we have the day of the competition, and I've just kind of written about, they go, they warm up, they do their competition, it's great, they win. That's the end of that chapter, because then we switch back to Kylie's perspective. And chapter 16 is called this is chapter 16. It's called Mistakes. And honestly, that didn't change that. This is back to Kylie. They're making out in bed. Mom walks in. Oh, okay. Kylie gets mad at Ezra because she doesn't like coming over, making out, and waiting for his mom, and then we don't do anything. Ezra says, it's because you don't ever want to go out. She says, that's what you think. You're such a jerk. I hate you. Kylie, where did this come from? I don't know. Leave me alone. Girl's a mess. Okay, she goes to a club, has a fake ID. So she goes in. Notice the customers were mainly men. Perfect. That's not good. Okay, she does shots. She's met a guy who's now bought her a shot. Tell me about yourself. You don't want to know about me. Promise, let's just drink, she says. 7 shots later. Holy shit. Wow, that's a lot of shots. Oh, and she's twerking. God. She kisses Jacob. That's the guy that was buying her drinks. She kisses him. They kind of go to the back of the bar and start making out. And then she goes, oh, he's 10 years older. He's getting a bit too aggressive, but I had initiated it, so he would use that as a reason. This is kind of intense, honestly. she tries to push him away, but she can't, so she knees him in the crotch. This is intense. I don't really... Wow, okay. Yeah, the world's spinning and buzzing. Is it? You've done 7 shots? Unfortunately, my insomnia was taking its toll, so I didn't have the strength. Sure, yeah, it got nothing to do with the 10 vodka shots. You've just done it. Bartender comes and helps her, takes her outside. She freaks out, calls Ezra. Ezra comes to get her. This is the exchange when she wakes up the next morning at Ezra's place. She says, ow. He says, are you okay? She says, I really don't think so. I'm hungover. He says, yes. She says, I was drinking? He says, clearly. Said, why? We had a fight. Did we? Well, you did apologize. That was nice of me. And that's a conversation. It's just those words. I just read that entire page, like entire conversation word for word. Oh. And then Ezra says, well, it's good. You finally told me some things about yourself. And she says, wait, did I tell you about, And he says, yes. And she said, no. She's really pissed off that she must have told him about her sister. I can forget about it, okay? I'm just gonna forget, he says. She goes, okay. Chapter 17 is called After. This is back to Jenna's perspective. So this is now after the show. They're done their competition, but they really enjoy working together, so they make a real performing arts troupe and decide to perform in the community. And Jenna, oh no, it's Grace, comes up with the name, we should call it the Sun Stars. Okay, and then she goes back to art class and sees Dan again, and Dan asks her to go on a date. She's talking about all the things she has to do. Oh yeah, I'm working on the studio all day Saturday, finishing at 5, swim practice Sunday, homework, blah blah blah. And Dan says, oh, that's it? Wondering if you want to hang out with me in between saving third world countries and curing cancer. She has a meltdown. So Dan takes her out in the hallway. She just kind of says, oh, I had a panic attack. He's like, do you want to talk about it? She says, no, not really. And so they just sit there. And he says, okay, so I guess you don't want to hang out? She says, no, wait, yes, of course I do. So they decide to go on a date. Oh, and now we switch to Dan's perspective. So talking about how cute Jenna is, they go to watch a movie. He starts thinking about asking her out, and he realizes that she freaked out when he said the word cancer. And then he holds her hand and he feels a little scar on her hand from an IV, and knows that he realizes that he had one because he had an IV once where he had his appendix, and so he realizes that plus her freak out with cancer, he realizes that she had or has cancer. Then we go back to Jenna's perspective, and she knows that he knows. She kind of says, it's okay, I'm fine now. And then he tries to kiss her, and she pulls away. It doesn't explain right now why she pulled away. I think it does later. Okay, and then we go back to art class. He's been avoiding her. She was worried that she would fall for someone, get sick again, and die and leave them heartbroken. And she doesn't want to do that to Dan. Oh, and here we go again. The impossible happens. So she is at rehearsal. She is trying to help Grace learn how to do pirouettes. Starts doing pirouettes herself, gets dizzy, says she forgot to spot, tries to do it again, and passes out. Everyone freaks out. She wakes up and she's fine, says she wasn't spotting. Quinn drives her home. She goes home. I think she sleeps for a little while, and then when she gets up, she sees the bruises again. Oh, and that's the end of part 2. So now we're in part 3. We're still in Jenna's perspective. Jenna's not coming to the doctor's appointment. She's pissed off. Oh, Destiny's all excited to see her until she realizes that she's not here for a checkup. So we see Dr. Nightingale, and we explain, and gets another bone marrow aspiration. Well, she's going to get another bone marrow aspiration. It's back, isn't it? Jenna says. So sorry, Jenna, says Dr. Nightingale, because we know already, apparently. Oh, she talks to Emma. Do you know what cancer is? Jenna asks, and Emma goes, of course I do. Sorry, I freaked out, Emma. I'm just really nervous. I have to go get some tests done after school. And Emma says, what kind? Are they math tests? Those are my worst. No, they're bone marrow tests. Tells Emma that she's probably going to be back in the hospital a lot. Goes back to school. Sees Dan. Oh, brings him into a classroom so that they can talk. She apologizes for not kissing him. Kind of says that she says she wants to be with him, but needs to take things slowly. But then she says, no, we can't do this because... Oh, and then she tells him that her cancer's back, even though she doesn't know. But she doesn't kiss him. They hug. For the first time in her life, it feels 110% right, that hug. Back to Kylie. Oh, Kylie's in trouble. Mom takes Kylie to work with her. I think that's an issue. I think as an oncologist, there's probably some confidentiality issues with taking your daughter to work with you, but oh, okay, they do start talking about the kid. Yeah, Mom kind of is saying, you know, I know you're struggling. Come with me, you'll feel better. Kylie says, nothing's gonna make me feel better. There's literally only one person who would make me feel better, and she's gone. And Mom kind of says, come help me save others like her. And she meets Jenna. Yeah, is here for the bone marrow aspiration, and the Dr. Nightingale says she's gonna page Destiny to take her down to the procedure room, and Kylie says, no, I'll do it. And yeah, that's totally fine. It's a great solution, says Dr. Nightingale. And Jenna reminds Kylie of her younger sister, and they have a good talk. Just be yourself, says Kylie, because that's how we beat cancer. Oh, Kylie gives her a hug, says the only person she's touched in the last 5 years is Ezra, and Jenna feels like a memory. I think I was planning to have a kind of a relationship build up between Kylie and Jenna. Everything about her reminded me of her. The one her is italicized. I'd only known Jenna for 10 minutes, but I felt like I'd known her for so much longer. Maybe I had. That's the final impact statement. No, you haven't. Even if she reminds you, this isn't your sister. We met a bunch of patients at Mom's office. Yeah, that's completely appropriate. Okay, Kylie and Mom have a heart-to-heart. It's lovely. Kylie says that she's depressed and she needs some help, and they start patching things up. Jenna has to go to her appointment where she gets her diagnosis and decides that she would like to wear a full-length green gown to the appointment and black heels to her appointment. Oh, she says that if she doesn't look anything like herself, maybe she'll turn into someone else who doesn't have to worry about cancer. Goes downstairs. Mom's like, why are you wearing a gown? Jenna says, it's my life. Today I'm getting an estimate on when it's gonna end. I think I should get to look how I want. And then we got another little impact statement. We got that shut her up, which fair enough. What are you gonna say to that? So she wears her gown to the appointment. It's back with a bit of a vengeance, says Dr. Nightingale. Nice. Jenna cries. Emma says, I'll make you chicken soup. You'll feel better. Jenna says, that sounds good. Jenna manages to get her doctor to agree to postpone her treatments for long enough to be in the show that her group is putting on. Oh my god, I hadn't mentioned the cancer. I just told them I was getting over pneumonia. We did that in this one too. Hopefully a little better than this. Okay, so she goes to dress rehearsal. Everyone's worried. She tells them that she has cancer. She says, I think I'm gonna die. And then they say, why didn't you tell us? She says, I wanted you to know me for me. I didn't want you to know me as the poor girl who had cancer. They're like, no, we still would have loved you. We only would have dwelled on it to make sure you're feeling okay. They're all being really supportive about the fact she didn't tell them. Nobody has yet reacted to the fact that she's got it again. They're all saying, you know, no, we wouldn't have judged you. It's fine. It's okay. And yeah, they're all just really, nobody's actually concerned about it until finally it's Pete the mystery. Pete hasn't done anything. None of these characters have done anything. Josie's the only one that had any sort of development, and that was actually just that she was afraid of heights because her uncle was in a plane crash, and so she went up to the top of the sand tower, and now she's better. But Pete realizes that Jenna's not gonna be able to perform while she's going through chemo, and everybody freaks out, and they decide that they're going to go on hiatus until Jenna is back because they refuse to perform without her, which technically the band kind of does the same thing. She doesn't want them to, but they do. They do their last show, and at the end they all cry. They explain that they're not going to perform anymore. Oh, this is it. So after her show, she wakes up on the first day of chemo, talks to her mom, tells Mom she's nervous. Mom says, yeah, you were nervous last time, Jenna. Jenna says, really? Mom says, of course you were. In fact, I think we were both up early then too. Jenna says, history repeats itself. Mom nods. And then there's a space and an open quote. And that is where it ends. Because that is where I guess I got stuck and I just never came back to it. So that is where the story actually ends. So as far as I can remember, the plan was that she was going to go through the treatments the whole time. I'm pretty sure I was going to have her get pretty close to dying. And then at the end, she was going to recover, pull through, get together with Dan. Oh, there were quite a few scenes that I had planned in the hospital. I had planned the group was gonna come and they were gonna sing Keep Holding On, because again, we were very into Glee at the time. Oh, there was gonna be Hallelujah. There was this super intense version of Hallelujah, the Canadian tenors, that I was gonna have play, and she and Dan were gonna have a slow dance in our hospital room, and that's when they were gonna have their kiss. But we didn't get to any of that. So that is Titanium.